The Buttonmonger. Appraisals, education, purchases, and sales. Lithograph buttons. Lithography was invented by Alois Senfelder in Bohemia in 1796. In the early days of lithography, an image was drawn, etched, onto a smooth piece of limestone, hence the name lithography, lithos being the Greek word for stone. After the image was etched on a surface, a solution of gum arabic and water was then applied. The gum would stick only to the non-oily surface. During printing, water adhered to the gum arabic surfaces and avoided the oily parts, while the oily ink used for printing did the opposite. Lithography was a very easy medium for the artist. He simply drew one picture onto the stone. The stone was then used to reproduce many copies of the identical image on paper. While the first lithograph appeared in the United States in 1819, lithography took off in 1875 with the invention of photolithography. The most popular lithograph products were prints depicting the contemporary scene. Currier and Ives are the best-known American lithograph printmakers of the day, but there were a host of others besides them. In 1871, there were at least 450 hand-operated and about 30 steam presses in the United States. The making of lithograph plates was a long and tedious task, and the transfer process, previously described, had many technical difficulties and began to lose popularity. A method of making plates easier and quicker was needed. In August 1855, a French chemist, Alphonse Louis Pontevin, invented photolithography, the act of making a lithograph printing plate by photographic means. This was soon followed by the invention of the offset press, which prevented the delicate photographic plates from being damaged in the printing process. The earliest buttons having lithographs for decoration date from around the mid-1840s. The lithographs are usually male or female classical-style portraits mounted in painted metal rims with thread-back shanks. The lithograph was protected only by a thin coat of varnish, thus making these early buttons fragile and quite scarce. The later chromolithograph buttons produced between 1870 and 1910 were meant to imitate the more expensive painted ivory under glass buttons of the early to mid-1800s. A very few buttons were made with the lithographs printed directly onto the celluloid-coated metal face. Victorian portrait heads are by far the most common lithograph button, especially the often produced Count Fersen, the Swedish courtier who helped Louis XVI and his family escape from Paris. Buildings, scenes, flowers, and animals are more unusual. Lithograph buttons are highly collectible, as few have survived the ravages of time. Today, most lithograph buttons are found in poor condition, with faded colors, cracked and yellowed celluloid, and rust stains from the steel backing.